Do you ever go out to a match and man, you can't serve to save your life because you can't get the toss in the right place? One's too far in front, one's too far behind, one's too high. You just never know where the stupid thing's gonna go and you don't know how to fix it. So in this video, I'm gonna give you some tips about how to fix your serve toss by taming that toss. No more will you go out to the court feeling like I am subject to the will of my toss, and more so you can control where it's gonna go and learn how to correct it so you don't have any more of those bad serving days. Okay, so let's get started. The toss is one of the most important parts of your tennis game because it sets up the most important part of your tennis game, which is your serve. If you can't get this little yellow ball in the right spot for your serve, then you're always subject to kind of like dinking the ball in and never feeling like you can hit a strong, solid, dependable serve. Not only that, man, you've seen how many players crumble under pressure, and it generally shows up in the toss. First of all, let's talk about how you hold the ball. I think there's a couple different methods I think how you can hold the ball. I always recommend thinking of it this way, that I think is very simple. How would you drop a ball? Meaning that for the most part, if I'm gonna drop this ball here, it feels really weird to have it like this and then drop it. What I would do is have it almost like in my fingertips, so my fingertips can just open up. And you can see how this is really, really easy. Now, I do wanna give another suggestion for something which I call the ice cream cone kind of position, because some players have a tendency of really struggling and feeling that fingertips, and I'll explain why in a second. What I mean by the ice cream cone, it's like if you're holding an ice cream cone and basically you're gonna take these two fingers here like a pincher and hold the ball here so you can have it here. And so what's gonna happen is as we lift our arm up in a little bit and we talk about it, we just simply open it up. And so the very first drill I want you to do for your toss, regardless of what method you use, is simply grab the ball like you're gonna let it go or just drop it, and just drop it. This is a great way of just getting good at feeling how it should be. If you're using the ice cream cup method, just sit here and go boop. Okay, boop. Okay, that's the first thing that we have to make sure we understand. The reason why this is important is because most players struggle because the ball is so deep in the hand that the ball, as you toss, rolls out of your hand. And ideally, you have minimal roll when you're tossing. So when you toss and you watch it, it's just kind of like orbiting very subtly, or no orbit at all. But if you got like the spinning ball of fire coming like out of your hand, catch it. So that's the first part. The next part is how we toss the ball. And so I like to think of the toss coming on the inside of my leg coming up, and everything hinges from my shoulder. Even on my toss, I've noticed it. Sometimes I'll keep this bent and it comes up like this, but again, it hinges from the shoulder. So if your arm is straight here, or if it's bent here, it'll hinge from the shoulder, compared to where I see a lot of players is hinging from the elbow. And so this also breeds a lot of inconsistency in the toss, okay? So those are the very first two fundamental things we gotta get going. And so what I recommend you doing is simply, if we're gonna serve here, just practice having your hand come on the inside and coming all the way up. Inside, all the way up. It makes a straight line. Now you may be asking, hey Kevin, you know, some players like, you know, serve along the baseline. That's fine too if you want to do that. The thing with serving along the baseline, the ball's going to come back this way, which is totally fine. I sometimes, when I want to hit, let's say, more of a spin serve, and I want to get the ball going back so I can come across it, I will serve and have the ball come this way. But it's a controlled action. If you're not there yet, what I do recommend is having it come out in front just like this and have it be right in that spot. That's the easiest way, because if you're trying to create this, the timing's a little trickier. So depending on your level, you choose. The next thing is we got to figure out how and what height do we need to release the ball. And what I mean by here, generally is releasing eye height. But there's some really tricky things you got to understand about this. Is that it's really about timing. So even though I may release the ball eye height like this, you're probably saying, is that it? I mean, if that was it, my serve would be consistent. But there's a feel element to your toss. And what I mean by this is this. If I release it eye height, if I release it early, look what happens. Even if I release it eye height, I released it probably really early that time. But you can see how it goes too far in front of you in the same direction. Now, what if I release it too late? I hold on to the ball longer. Look what happens. You can see how the ball goes behind me. But again, as long as my arm's traveling on this kind of pendulum here on the inside of my leg, it stays in this line. Now this is the secret to start really improving your toss, because if you understand this, by releasing too early it goes in front and releasing too late it goes behind you, you have a means of adjusting your toss. And I think this is huge because a lot of players, and I feel so bad for them, and I feel bad for if you've been in that situation. I've been in that situation where you walk up to the line and you're like, it's just not going, and you don't really have a thing to do or focus on. You're just like, try it again, maybe it'll work, try it again. Instead of going, hey, you know what? My toss is not in the right spot, so I need to hold on more or release earlier, meaning that if it's going too far behind me, I need to release earlier. Now that we've talked about the toss and talked about how to adjust it, we need to know where to hit it. And so I coach players to do is focus on hitting the ball over my hitting arm shoulder. So now if we're thinking about my toss needs to be right here. And so a great way of practicing this also with our timing is making sure when I release, you can see how, boom, it lines up with the shoulder depending on where I want the ball to hit. And this is a general kind of serve toss. Now, this toss will change depending on the type of serve you're hitting. If I tend to want to hit a more of a kick serve, my toss will be more behind me and I will let it drop lower, so therefore I can come up on the ball and create more kick. The toss I just showed you is what I'll probably use for most of my slice and flat serves, meaning that right here, oh, not a good toss, hold on longer, there, I will maybe hit that. And the other thing I want you to understand is it's not this one point, because some players are so cued in and like, I need it to be in this one spot. So what I think about this is take a range here from here to here. I have this nice little cube or range of where the toss can be. So if I'm hitting, let's say, a flat serve, ooh, I'm gonna do that one. Okay, if I'm hitting a slice serve, ooh, I'm gonna do that one. If I'm hitting a kick serve, you can see how the toss starts going behind me. And the way I can do that is by knowing if I need to release earlier or later. Now, we're getting there. The next thing is the timing and feel of how high your toss should be to match your swing. Because sometimes I think players don't choose toss heights that matches their swings. And so what I mean is this. You generally see when a player has a bigger motion, you see a bigger toss. Because with a bigger motion, you need the time to get the racket in the right trophy position to get it up to contact. Generally when there's a big problem, I see big mismatches. So the player might either have like a very short toss and a big motion. So it's like this, and then they don't even get a chance to get the racket up, and it kind of fudges everything. We don't want that. We want to make sure that your toss motion matches your swing. Or you might have a shorter toss because you have a shorter motion. Whatever your motion is, your toss needs to match it. Yes, you do see some players are like, hey, I'm going to toss it way up. The higher the toss, I think the more or the harder is the time, and we don't want that. We want our toss to be as simple and efficient as possible. We don't want to add any extra having to wait or do anything else. So a really easy way to tell what the timing should be for your toss is simply toss and then see where your racket is at contact and then try to repeat that. So I know my contact's here. So if I toss, boom, boom, I can comfortably make the shot. Now, if I toss it too low, watch what I didn't even get it up. And if I toss too high, you can see how it has to wait here longer. Now, let's say if I toss it lower, but my racket goes straight up. Boom, boom. I might toss a little higher. Boom, boom. That's gonna probably feel a little bit more comfortable. The key is feeling comfort when you're going up without being rushed. So if I do my entire motion here, you can see what my toss here, boom, boom. There's not this jerky, herky, stoppy thingy. Everything's very smooth and timed to make sure that my toss matches it, and this is key. Now, the very last thing is you want to think about your timing and rhythm. You want to think about how you can keep the same timing and rhythm with your toss and your contact. And so this would be kind of bad timing and rhythm, I think, is that you would have one serve where you're going, okay, boom, boom, okay, boom, boom. That's the kind of cadence. And then your next serve, you walk up to the line, it would be like, boom, boom. Hence, I shanked it, not even really trying. You can see how there's a different timing and rhythm. The problem with this is that you're always trying to figure your timing and rhythm out, and it's always different. What you want to do instead is have the same timing and rhythm. And to do this, we want to get in the habit of when you practice, and I'm just going to show you a drill in a second, is you listen to the timing and cadence. So I'm going toss, hit, okay? Toss, hit, okay? You can see how the timing and cadence of it is the exact same. Toss, hit, toss, hit. Now when you combine all these things together, it gives you this rhythm. And when you're off, especially if you toss it and you feel like you're off, stop, do not hit it. So now let's go to a drill you can do to start getting better with your toss. The very first drill I want you to do is called toss identification. It's really, really simple. You either say yes or no. So what that means is, I'm gonna toss and go, no. Meaning that if it's not in the right contact spot, I don't hit it. Because one of the biggest things I see recreational players doing is that when they go out to serve and it's not there, they're like, ah, I gotta hit it. Oh, it's good. Okay, it was okay. But the problem with that is that every time you're training yourself to hit bad tosses. And the key to having a consistent serve is training yourself only to hit those good tosses. Remember, the serve is the only shot that you have full control over. So why would I give myself a bad toss that I have to go chase and hit? No, you catch that thing and you train yourself to hit a good one. So that last one was no. This one, yes. Ooh, gotta get that in. Ready? Nope, too far in front. Yes, good. Now, the other thing with this, it also trains you to recognize if it's too far in front and not. When you hit your toss, not only do you want it over your hitting arm shoulder, but you want it slightly in front of you, not too far in front, because what will happen is when you're talking about aiming, if your toss is way too far in front, it starts to change the racket face so dramatically, you're gonna probably take a lot of balls in the net, or you're gonna have to corrupt your swing to get it in. Meaning that if I toss it way in front like this, I have to break everything to get it in. We don't want that because that also leads to weaker toss. And the final drill is what I call 2 to 1, meaning that you have to have 2 consistent good tosses in a row before you can hit the third one. And so I'll go through my entire motion like this, and I'll go toss, hit, that's good. Toss, hit, that's good. Now I have permission to hit the third one. Toss, that one might have been a little off. I might need to redo that one. But you can see how toss, up, nope, that doesn't count. That's a little off. Toss, that's good. Toss, that's good. Okay. Oh, so I can start with the last one there. Good. This is a great focus drill because it really gets you to dial in. When you start going from yes to no and do that drill first and then work on being more consistent with it, it builds up your confidence in being able to have the right toss at the right time for the right serve. If you can do that, it takes your serve to the next level. Now, if you struggle with your serve mechanics, that's a whole nother can of worms, but we can help you with that because if you watch this video, it'll break down how to use the continental grip and how to start adding more spin and control on your serve. So therefore, after you do that, you can add more power to it too.